So the other day I took some requests and recommendations for Frankenswitches in Reddit. Lake Boredom wanted to know if the leaves in Gateron blues are more tactile than in their linear counterparts. Not Sam14 wanted to test if Durrock linear leaves are as tactile as their tactile leaves. FKN Throwaway straight up recommended me to try Feker Panda stems in Kiwi housings. So I started off with the Kiwi and Panda Frankens. I placed the Panda stem in the Kiwi housing and vice versa. And what I can say about the Kiwi housing and Panda stem combo is it is very tactile. In fact, it feels a lot like a Zelio. And it also has a very short distance to travel, which I'll expound on later. I can't say the same about the tactility of the T1 stem being placed in the Panda housing though. It lost a lot of tactility. There's still a little bit there, but it's definitely not as prominent as a T1 stem should be. Next one is I put the T1 stem in Gateron yellows and Gateron blues. Now overall, I would not recommend this combination at all. It lost all tactility. So initially I only retained the same springs. I used the same Gateron blue springs and the same Gateron yellow springs with the T1 stems in their respective housings. And it lost all of its tactility. It just felt like a really bad linear overall. And you'll also hear the sound later. It does not sound good. It sounds quite mushy. So I had a theory and thought to myself, maybe the problem was that I was using a light spring on the T1, making it not feel tactile at all. So I swapped the springs as well. I moved the Durrock 67 gram springs over into these housings, but quite frankly, it didn't really make much of a difference. It still felt mushy, and so to answer the question of not Sam14, neither of them are really quite that tactile. And surprisingly, there was no click at all from the blue. I am not so sure if it has to do with the bottom housing or if it has to do with the stem itself, but I could not get the click to work. I don't really work much with clicky switches, so if anyone can enlighten me on what I did wrong, or if it's supposed to retain its clicky sound, do let me know. Next up, I tried the Durrock L7 linears and the Durrock T1 tactiles, and basically just swapping them. And what I can say about this is that I wouldn't really recommend it. Putting the Durrock L7 in the Durrock T1 housing didn't really make much of a difference, while putting the T1 in the L7 housing made it lose a bit of its tactility. I couldn't really feel it as much, and Durrock T1s tend to have quite a prominent bump, but here you couldn't feel it at all. So with that out of the way, I placed the switches into my GMMK compact, and I will now give you a sound test so you have a good idea of what it should sound like. So that's what the switches sound like on a keyboard. And I want to make a special note of the Kiwi housing and Panda stem combo. I actually quite liked it. The tactility was akin to that of a Zelio switch. And I mentioned that there's a very short travel distance for these switches. I think it owes to the fact that the pin at the bottom housing of the Kiwi is too narrow for the whole stem to actually go through, as you can see in this video. So it gives a very quick and tactile response, which I actually really like. In any case, I hope this was informative and I hope you enjoyed the video. I might make more. I might post on their thread on Reddit if any of you want to make any more requests or recommendations. Thanks for watching.